Okay, here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is. I hope it's good to be where you are, because it is certainly good to be here. My name is Baltimore Fats, and this is Mud City. Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well today. Just going to do a quick follow up here on Star Fort Marshall. Um, I was having my morning coffee with Mary, and she had sent me a link to this history of Baltimore forts, right? And camps and things like this. And of course, so there was a thing about Fort Marshall, which I wanted to immediately find out about, right? And so this is actually even before I'm having my morning coffee. I've just opened up my phone for the morning and was checking my stuff and saw this and was making myself coffee. And when I saw this, that's when Coffee with Mary started, right? And as I was reading through this, and it said that Fort Marshall was in Highlandtown, right? And it became the site of the Sacred Heart Jesus Catholic Church in 1873. So just like 11 years or so after that, that's drawing or whatever it is. And I have an idea of what it could be actually, or some of these old pictures what they could be. That Star Fort was turned into this Catholic church, which I bet at the original Catholic church, because it says it was rebuilt in 1908. I wonder if it's still there. I didn't look that up, and I'm not going to right now, because there's always things to come back on, and I love that about Mud City. There's just always so much, and but it also parts of it became the Fort Marshall Brewery. They say the AKA Weisner Brewery, which of course is that first brewery building in my first video. But of course, the location is wrong, because that brewery building is on Gay Street, and this lists Eastern and Highland Avenues. So I was like, nah, I gotta get Mary on the horn here, right? So I texted her. It just turned into a phone call, and so we just started going over maps and trying to find some of these locations, and we noticed that there were some streets that didn't add up anymore. And so that's when she directed my attention to a post she put on the Baltimore Mudflood History, a response to my fort video, where she just elaborates on just about every point I bring up in that video. And she brings up so much great information in here. And one of the things, but I'm going to so we were talking about these streets, and we were going over old maps, and we found this German street here, and we went to look for it today, and today, it doesn't exist. There is no German street. And we were noticing that some of these other streets don't quite match up. And so we're looking, of course, this is pre-fire, and a lot of this area would have been chewed up in the fire, so that, you're rebuilding there. And I tried to find, I didn't have much success just trying to, because I wanted to get this video made and out, a nice little, everybody have a great weekend video. So yeah, German Street no more, right? And she said, "Did you see the map I linked you on the Mudflood page?" And I was like, "No." All right. And so she told me about it, and it's this. It's this Lloyd's Baltimore elevated building map of the 500 million business district of Baltimore, projected by J.T. Lloyd, 1891, made from actual photographic views at an expense of many $1,000s and 2 years' time. So he's very proud of himself. And I'm not going to go into it now, because like I said, there's going to be room for this, and maybe if I, when I string this together, if I like it and I do a little research, I'll do a tack on. But these are photographs of allegedly, these are photographs of these buildings that are then traced and put on these maps somehow. Very interesting, right? And so I do talk a little bit about it in what's about to happen, because I'm going to go. So we were starting to go over this, and German Street is on this map, and I'm marveling at this map. And I just having this conversation with Mary over our coffee, her on speakerphone, I said, I'm going to record this just as a test to see how it played out, because we were having such a good time. And so I recorded about 15 minutes of it. And I wish I recorded the whole conversation, because we had a lot more fun and went a lot of different places. But just as a nice sort of preview, I think, of what's to come, I'm really excited by this development. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. And I'm going to look up some of these other names, and maybe I'll do a little add-on, maybe not. So have a great weekend, everybody. Love everybody. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and until the next one, cheers, guys. Which one?
It was a book on, I'm trying to find it right now. It was a book that somebody had sat down and wanted to document these papers that they had found in an office, a land records office. They were already a half a century old.
What's the name of the book, Mary?
I'm looking for it now. Don't be rushing me. I got a lot of stuff saved here.
Don't rush you, says the woman who draws 80 pages. Oh, you want some information on the case? All right, here's 20 web pages. Go.
I got a portrait in the evils of democracy that was in the Library of Congress from back in the day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Where did that... Okay, let's see.
Oh, don't tell me I lost that damn page. I gotta go into my history and see if I can find it.
I gotta go back to this 3D map here on German Street. The street that no longer exists.
Yeah, the street that no longer.
Oh, I gotta flip it around. Hold on.
Okay, let me go back to my history and see what I can find, because I didn't save anything.
Wait, what? All right, 1891, right on German Street, they have something called the Viaduct Manufacturing Company, right? And on the side of the building, it says electric supplies of all kinds. Telegraph, telephone, electric light. Burglar alarms, speaking tubes. What the hell is a speaking tube?
Speaking tubes were
like the
right,
yeah, right. 1891.
I want to know how they got electric supplies.
Right, so quick. Right. Electric light wiring, buildings, burglar alarms, speaking tubes, gas lighting, regulators, house annunciators, magneto fire alarms. What's a magneto fire alarm? Everything electrical, it says. Bang, your one-stop shop for your free energy devices. That's amazing.
See, we did have electric wires.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, I mean, I don't have it picked out. I mean, I don't know when they started to, but 1891 seems really early for something like a retail supply shop to exist. I don't know. That's kind of suspect to me. And Mary, where were the, what street was that with the house with the people? Was that?
You would ask me that. Lombard Street, I believe.
It was Lombard.
No, it was Baltimore.
It was in the corner of the map, right?
I think it was more in a little bit, not the corner.
Wait a minute, something weird is happening here. Wait a minute, how can I get out of this? See, and also I hate this upside downness. It's killing me. I don't see it, Mary. There's.
I went looking for forts in Baltimore to start my night on the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
And came across a book called Arthur St. Clair of Old Fort Recovery. But it ended up being about Ohio.
What?
Yeah, but I dropped it on the page for Regina. I was like, yep, went to look up Baltimore again, ended up in Ohio.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting connections with Ohio.
Ohio had a lot. I've been up to Serpent Mound. Ohio had a lot of mound builders. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The giants buried in the mounds.
Very famous for their mounds.
Oh, I loved it up there. It was beautiful.
I've never been. I gotta make a trip to Ohio, I think. Maybe we'll make a road trip someday, Mary.
We will. I'm always up for that.
Why the heck can I find this building?
Oh, here we go. I'm dropping you this link right now. I'll message it to you so that you have it. Because read, like, the chapter 1 page of this.
I'm getting angry.
The narrative is basically, we found a whole bunch of old documents, half a century old, and they haven't been documented.
Wait a minute.
We want to do it.
Say this again, Mary?
Chapter 1 begins with the reply that he got for saying he wanted to document this old history for people like us to look up in the future. It's in Messenger.
All right, cool.
It's Messenger effect.
Wait a minute.
Oh my God, my computer's being an ass now.
Finally. Oh, I found a tobacconist. Finally.
You think after all the tobacco we read about this everywhere?
Right? Everybody should be chain smoking. Right?
They should be chain smoking. There should be a tobacco salesperson on every corner.
Oh, here it is.
Like
here it is.
Tobacco weigh station. You should bring your tobacco wagon. No.
Here it is. I found it on Pratt Street, Mary. The building with all the people in it. All right. The only. Yeah. And it is strange, these connectors. You all right there?
I inhaled my coffee.
Uh-oh. Slow down.
Yeah, we're good.
I like here it says on that building, right? With the people, it says bank and church furniture.
Yeah, it's the one I was reading down.
Right. You know, they would make church and bank furniture at the same place because churches and banks are the same place. Right?
Yeah.
And they have billiard and pool tables in there. Molding and cornice poles, right? That could be your energy collection.
All of our Baltimore cornices that I keep talking about.
Yeah, those cornices they're so amazing, and the metal ones are the ones that really interest me. You know, because I definitely think they could have been used for.
Well, I'm sitting down in front of this house, and it had to be near Jonestown yesterday. Which, by the way, there's an obelisk that sits right down in the middle of the street for absolutely no reason.
What neighborhood is this, Mary?
Actually, I went down to. I actually didn't know where I was because it kind of took me in a back way, and it was a brand new housing development. Well, I'm going up the street, and I see this obelisk sitting on the side of the road, on the sidewalk, and it looks fucking ancient. And I had to turn like a half a block before it. So I go down the entire neighborhood, new roads, new houses, new everything. So I really, wasn't directionally understanding where I was in town I pop out the other side and find out I'm right down between Hopkins Hospital and the post office on Fayette Street. And I was like, shit. Where the hell was the obelisk? So it's somewhere between Orleans Street and Fayette Street near Central Avenue, where the water used to be. Because Central Avenue was a river.
No, I had no idea.
Central Avenue was a river.
Where's
it ran right beside the Jones Falls.
It ran like parallel to or across? Or like perpendicular?
Parallel. They didn't intersect.
Okay. Mary, I'm cruising around this 3D map, and this bit of Lombard Street, where you can clearly see that, the pitch of the street, and those windows disappear.
Yeah.
That just makes me so happy.
Okay, well now I'm about ready to make you unhappy. Click the link that I sent you in Messenger.
Okay, hold on. You're making me go. I am. Now
I'm really going back with your head.
Okay, wait a minute. You're taking me out of my headspace there, and alright.
I want to show you how much they have fucked with our history since 1847.
I just got an error message. Wait a minute. There we go. The narrative of events which occurred in Baltimore town during the Revolutionary War. Oh, yes, you...
Okay, now click image 5.
Image 5. Hold on. Is it gonna be the one where, like, the carols and
no, you're gonna love the words on that page.
Wait a minute. 5? I don't even see the image. I don't see where I can click on that. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go.
Remarked that the curiosity entertained by all civilized nations of inquiring into the exploits and adventures of their ancestors commonly excite the regret that the history of remote ages should always be so much involved in obscurity, uncertainty, and contradiction. Sentence 1.
Yeah. I got it. I pulled it up. In the indulgence of this natural curiosity, the American people have no regrets to experience that their history is involved in obscurity, uncertainty, and contradictions. The records which have been preserved of the planting of the different colonies, which were afterwards united as a great whole, and are now known as the United States, bear testimony to the pure and upright sentiments which directed the colonists in the building up of these great communities, whether right or wrong in the crown of England. What? All right. Yeah, right. I'm not going to page 2 today, right now. Right, but hold on. Undertaking to appropriate to itself the great wastes of a large portion of the North American continent, and allotting to such persons as might solicit of it such of the vacant lands as they might require, is not now a question, for the principle seems to have been established from the earliest ages of civilization. Yep. Yeah, see, you can't keep handing me these books, man. That's amazing. Oh my God.
Either inhabited by savages or destitute
right?
of any kind of population, belonged to the right of the first discoverers. And if he followed up his discovery by an actual occupation, his claim was good to it against all worlds. Treat that principle to which contributed to the civilization of the world. The world.
What? Where's the title?
To him was given dominion over the fowl of the air, the fish of the seas, to, quote, to subdue the earth, unquote, to, quote, increase and multiply, unquote. There you go. Enjoy
That
your
is,
book.
yeah, thanks. All right, so that's going to be a good place. Okay, so I'm going to do a little quick follow-up here because I looked at some of the people and I found some interesting things. I'm not going to go too in depth, but we'll try to remember to link everything. There's some amazing stuff here, okay? So here's the map in full, right? And then I was looking down at this other information here, right? So the contributors, right? This J.T. Lloyd, who put a great expense in 2 years' time into this map, he had to let us know, right? And the Friedenwald Company, right? So start with the person first, right? James T. Lloyd. And I wasn't having much luck, so I started with J.T. Lloyd, rather, projectionist, right? Because they say these were projections, right? And so Lloyd's map of the southern United States, 1861. Official map of the state of Kentucky, right? Then we get into this kind of like the international projectionist. And then it comes to this, right? The hologram and its antecedents, right? 1891 to 1965. And so this is a doctoral thesis. The illusory history of a three-dimensional illusion. Right? And now this is very long, and I'm not going to read much from it. Just a little bit. I brought up a couple things quickly, and then, like I said, I'll link. I can only imagine the true depths of this book. All right? Because there are no book-length histories of the hologram, I have selected the optical physicist's existing narrative for a fuller exploration. In reviewing this narrative, I attempt to lay out, in far more human and archival detail, a history that is typically written in less than 3,000 words. I wish to stress that this is not my history. In choosing this narrative, I wish to make it clear that I do not feel that this is by any means the true or only history. Rather, it is one of several valid narratives on this technology, any one of which might justify a thesis. Nor do I suggest that this is an alternative history to the one Dennis Gabor presented in his 1971 Nobel lecture on winning the Nobel Prize for Physics. All right, so that's kind of interesting, right? That she points that out, that there are, many different ways to look at the history of the hologram, right? And I think it was interesting that it goes back to 1891 and this sort of projective photography, that J.T. Lloyd was allegedly using, right? I'm going to just scroll ahead a little bit here. This is interesting here, just quickly. The now defunct Atari Atari had written in the early 80s, to Goldsmiths College, which was one of the only colleges that was actually doing this sort of holographic art, right? But also mentions that Atari wrote to all holographic artists, demanding that holographers were now obliged to purchase a license and pay royalties to Atari, because Atari made some claim of purchasing holographic patents for applications in computer or video games, RE animation, virtual reality, right? Holograms and virtual reality, 1980s, early 80s. However, this is, as this thesis will reveal, that the original patent was intended solely for application with an electron microscope, which is interesting that they would need calligraphy in microscopes. I wonder how that kind of connects, right? And then there was this other. Um, the author was asked to view this prototype for dental surgery holograms, and shortly after viewing the prototype, I was requested by letter to sign the British Official Secrets Act and to not disclose or describe the display. And he talks about that was that the startup company ended up closing, right? And so that's why I guess why she could talk about it. And this I'm just going to move away from here because who knows where this will go. The military use of holography in the 20th century formed a pervasive background to this invention. Decisions regarding what information was or was not exoteric to military requirements determined both the nature and timing of the original publication of the hologram in 1940s wartime Britain and the medium's subsequent Cold War development at Michigan University, which is apparently a major military university, into a popular three-dimensional image. And again, with the animation and virtual reality, right? And perhaps your what do they call them? I can't even think of the in character, the in game people. I don't even know what it is. Spacing out on it. But very interesting that I could find a connection with that name, the J.T. Lloyd, and the history of holograms, and perhaps it's military and computer programming, animation, the virtual reality and CGI stuff, right? So, oh, wait a minute. So that was one search, right? And then I found the name. His name is James T. Lloyd, right? I searched next, right? Because I found a James T. And I went, who's James T. Lloyd, right? Here's a map of Library of Congress, right? This is him. So it's James T. Lloyd, all right? The elevated map. And as I keep going, right? The Grand Lodge of Kentucky, James T. Lloyd, along with Ambrose Bierce. I don't know, is he from Kentucky? And then I saw this, James Tillman Lloyd, 1857 to 1944. So he had a good life, right? He had a nice long life. This could be our guy, right? 1902. This could be a sketch that's projected, right? They sketch this off a projection, right? So he was House Minority Whip, 1901 to 1908. Tillman family, of course, connected to the Carrolls deeply, and George Washington, right? Keeping it in the family. So I thought that was interesting that the guy who created the map was possibly this same James T. Lloyd. I have to believe it is, right? Until I'm shown otherwise, that's what I'm rolling with. So I wanted to look up then also the company, this Friedenwald and Company, right? And you find when you first do it, the first things that come up is this J.H. Friedenwald, right? But I happen to know that the guy's name is Isaac because it's visible on the map. But the first thing that comes up is Friedenwald whiskey. So you have to believe that J.H. and Isaac Friedenwald, who published the map, are related, because how common could the name Friedenwald have been in the day, right? But so I kept looking down and I found Friedenwald Press Company, right? And here are his books, and you can go and look at them, and they're just the selection alone. And I didn't look at this one; it's too light. That's a problem with one of the other more interesting ones, right? dissertation on Plato and the dramatic and mimetic features of Plato, right? Very interesting. So Roman, pushing those Roman ideals, published 1891, I think. Yeah, that one's 1891. All right. What was this one? And some of these, it's like impossible. Like they put it in here, but you can't even really read it. Like, is there anything on this page? They put a book in here that's got nothing. All right. And then this Cauchy's theorem, which looks to be really interesting about frequencies and vibrational wave patterns and things like that, right? The elliptic functions, right? So interesting, publishing these holographic, projectionist maps, publishing books on Plato and vibrational theory and elliptic functions. And he also has 2 more books that are available for your reading pleasure. Isaac Friedenwald, right? This is the guy who published the map. Oh wait, did I just click on the same? I clicked on the same thing. Sorry guys, hold on. Friedenwald Company published, put out books under the title Lord Baltimore Press, which is interesting. 1901. We have a book about Governor Thomas Hicks and the Civil War. When was this one published? 1901. And then this other one, which I thought is really interesting, and it's unfortunate that it's so faded. Trust companies in the United States. Look at that. Can I get in on that? Library Johns Hopkins. All right. All right. The historical, descriptive, and critical. Right. Short discussion, historical, descriptive, and critical of trust companies in the United States by George Cater, it looks like. Dissertation submitted to the Board of University Studies at the Johns Hopkins University. Does it give us a year on this? I don't see a year on this one. Sorry, guys. But again, crazy publication history there. So that's going to close it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a great time doing it. I came up with a great name for the what Mary and I what I'm going to call. I think what I'm going to call this episode, I'm going to call it Mudletting. So anyway, have a great weekend, guys. I'm starting to get blown up here now. 163 new messages. Oh my god. Okay, guys. Take care. Till the next one. Cheers.